بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Question I was asked before, and it's a very important question and also a very practical question, and something that many people may look at to be minute or small or a trifle, but in actuality or in reality it's a huge question, a question of huge importance. And that is because it can be something which could nullify your Jumu'ah and render all of your time, your energy, your break, your day off fruitless. You come to Jumu'ah, you travel from one part of New York to another, or you take off, whatever the case is, and you go home with no reward. You go home without anything. And this is an issue I'm just going to read here some fatwa, or maybe one fatwa regarding this issue. The question says, هل يجوز أن يأمن المصلون أو يأمن المصلون أو يؤمنوا هكذا خطأ إملائي هل يجوز أن يؤمن المصلون بعد دعاء خطيب الجمعة ثم هل ينبغي لنا أن نصلي على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عندما يصلي الخطيب عليه صلى الله عليه وسلم أم لا? With regards to you sitting in the masjid and listening to the khutbah, and the imam says, may Allah make us loyal or grateful or worthy, is it permissible for you to say Ameen in the khutbah? Is it permissible for you to say Ameen? Or when the imam or the guest speaker, the khatib says, قال البخاري رحمه الله تعالى قال مسلم رحمه الله تعالى, and at the end he says, عن جابر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال. Can you in the Jumu'ah khutbah sit down and say sallallahu alayhi wasallam? So you can obviously see why many people look at it as a small thing. What's the big deal? You're being petty. Okay? But it is a big deal. And I'll explain to you why. So first and foremost is, what is the ruling on this? We understand the issue at hand. Very simple, very easy to understand. Is it permissible to say Ameen when you're sitting in the khutbah? And is it permissible to say sallallahu alayhi wasallam behind the speaker in the what? In the khutbah. And why would the scholars even differ on this issue? Why would it be a difference of opinion? Why would it even be an issue of study? Say Ameen. It's a good thing. To say sallallahu alayhi wasallam is a what? A good thing, without a question. So why would it even be an issue? The answer says, الجواب لم يرد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه أمر المستمعين للخطبة يوم الجمعة أن يؤمنوا ولا رغب فيه. First and foremost is that there's nothing mentioned, there's no hadith which is sound and well known that the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam ordered the listening Muslims to say Ameen. Then he said, say Ameen, do it if you hear me make a dua. There's no hadith that supports that, in which he told them to say Ameen after him. Nor did he make an encouragement and give them a virtue of it. Now, this is very important for this issue and any other issue in Islam. Before we go any further, is it bid'ah, is it haram? What's important is that from the get-go, there's no proof from the get-go, no direct proof. General proof is one thing, but there's no direct hadith supporting it. And there lies no doubt. There's no doubt about it that Islam is hadith. Without a question. Islam is hadith. From beginning to end. There's no understanding of the Quran properly without hadith. There's no 5 daily prayers properly without hadith. There's no zakat properly without hadith. There's no fasting properly without hadith. There's no hajj properly without hadith. Rather than many things that people believe in and people are afraid of and scared, major issues of their day-to-day Islam, which is not mentioned in the Quran, such as Al-Masih al-Dajjal. The Dajjal is not mentioned in the Quran, not once. Not by name, nor indirectly. Even though some of the ulama, they differ over a subtle extraction of the Dajjal being mentioned, but it's nothing that's sarih at all. The Dajjal has only been mentioned where? In the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. But a lot of Muslims, or I would hopefully suppose all Muslims, believe in the coming of the what? Dajjal, whether you call him Antichrist or not. And he's not mentioned where? At all. And there are many, many other things that you do on a daily basis that have not been mentioned where? in the Quran. So the foundation and the basis of Islam is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, without a question. And that's no disrespect to the Quran. Everyone understand this? That's not what? It's not disrespect to the Quran. Rather, that is respect for the what? For the Quran in reality. So, what's important is that there's no hadith supporting it, in which the Prophet told them to do it, meaning it's obligatory, or in which the Prophet ﷺ says, رَغَّبَ فِيهِ, encouraged it, and said that it's a reward in doing it. It's a hasana in doing it. It's a good deed. Allah will be pleased with you if you do it. So we know from the get-go, the brakes are automatically what? They're already on. Can I make dua after the salam? The Imam, he says, say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you raise your hands or raise your hands not. Can I do it? Do you have to do it? Are you an extremist if you don't do it? Are you Wahhabi if you don't do it? There's no what? Direct practice from the Prophet. It may be permissible to do it. It may be permissible to do it, but I know for sure that it can't be what? Obligatory. It can't be what? There's no way that it can be what? Wajib. Secondly, there's no way that you can criticize me for it. And at best, it's going to be an issue of ijtihad. At what? At best. And at worst, it's going to be a what? Bid'ah. Or something that's unlawful to do. This is a golden principle for the layman Muslim. From a 9 to 5 aspect. A what? Golden principle. Golden principle. Moving forward. He says, كما أنه لم يرد عنه صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه نهى المستمعين أن يؤمنوا لدعاء الخطيب في خطبة الجمعة أبدا. He says, and just as we mentioned the first thing, the second thing, there's no hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ forbade the people from saying Ameen. There's no hadith in which he told them not to say it. And not to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the khutbah. In the first khutbah or the second khutbah. There's no hadith what? Supporting it or what? Preventing it. There's no hadith supporting it or preventing it. ولكن الذين جوزوا التأمين من السامعين لدعاء الخطيب الذي يدعو به يوم الجمعة على أساس أن التأمين عند الدعاء أي دعاء كان مشروع. He says, and those who say that it's permissible to say Ameen or permissible to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what are they basing their view off of? If there's nothing to support it. Are they just making it up? They base it off of the what? The original legislation. The original default legislation. And that is when the dua is made that you say Ameen. That's the asl. That's the what? That's the default. That's the asl. Is that it is permissible, it is recommended, maybe some places obligatory to just say what? Ameen. To say Ameen when the dua is made. So therefore the Prophet ﷺ, in every single hadith, it doesn't specify the time and the place. Sometimes it does, like the salah. When the Imam says what ad-dallin, you say Ameen, for example. When the Imam says Ameen, so on and so forth. The details of that. But the general concept is that it's permissible to say Ameen after dua. And that is the default rule. And that's the what? That's the asl. And it's a very important principle for the layman Muslim as well. To understand what is the original ruling. What's the what? The original ruling. Innocent until proven guilty. And you're not supposed to be guilty until proven innocent. As in some cases, based off of race or religion. Everyone understand this? Or a country or politics or whatever it is in which you're already guilty. We just now have to prove it to the courts. Or the court has to prove it to the people so there's not an uproar or a protest. Everyone understand this? Or a rebellion. As you find all the time. In many countries, maybe here in the United States. In which you're basically guilty until what? Proven innocent. That's not supposed to be the rule. The rule is, I didn't do it. No matter what blood is dripping from my hands, where the gun is, I did not kill that man. Until what? Proven that I did it. Everyone understand this? And that makes a big difference in court. That makes a huge difference in court. With regards to the judge and the jury, it doesn't matter how strong the argument is and convincing, if it isn't certain, he has to what? He has to walk free. Because the default is there, and that which is there doesn't go away until something is similar or stronger to do what? Move it out the way. Everyone understand this principle? So that's the asl. The asl is that you say Ameen after dua is made. He then says, وَالَّذِينَ مَنَعُوا التَّأْمِينَ مِنَ الْمُسْتَمِعِينَ لِدُعَاءِ خَطِيبِ الْجُمْعَةِ قَالُوا إن أحاديث التأمين لا يندرج فيها دعاء الخطبة لأنه قد ورد المنع للكلام حال استماع خطبة صلاة الجمعة وأن المشروع هو الإنصات لمن يستمع خطبتي الجمعة سواء كان الخطيب في حالة الخطبة أو في حالة الدعاء. And those who say that you should not say Ameen, nor say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, their reasoning is, first and foremost, not mentioned here, is that it's not specifically talking about the khutbah Jumu'ah, but what is the main reason why they say don't do it? It's because during the khutbah you're supposed to do what? Keep silent. You're supposed to do what? You're not supposed to talk at all. Hadith says that when you tell your brother to do this and do that, you've what? You've messed up your Jumu'ah. When you tell your brother to listen and to be quiet, you've done what? You've messed up your Jumu'ah, to talk. You've messed up your Jumu'ah. So saying Ameen or saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam typically or hypothetically is a type of what? Speech. You're saying something, it's a word. So you're not supposed to do what? You're not supposed to talk during the khutbah, but you're only supposed to what? Listen. And they say that the Prophet ﷺ, he did not specify between during the khutbah, during dua, he didn't specify. When the imam is speaking, do what? Listen. Everyone understand this? So that is their rationale. The Mufti, he then says here, أما الذين أجازوا التأمين فلأن التأمين من السامعين يكون في لحظة واحدة ولا سيما أن التأمين يكون في السكتة التي بين الجمل الدعائية التي يؤمن عليها السامعون وهكذا يقولون في مشروعية الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن اسماع اسمه الشريف من الخطيب تعارض فيها عمومان. Going back to the first group or the first argument, those who say that when you say dua, it's only for a short period of time. So it's not like actual speech. Be quiet, get up, sit down, pass me this. Let alone the fact that they're not talking while the khatib is speaking. But in most cases, the khatib says, oh Allah, give us such and such. And then he does what? They say, Ameen. He gives them a second to talk. Or a person mentions the Prophet ﷺ's name, and he gives a second, and they say what? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So what's the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ telling the people not to talk on Jumu'ah? I mean, what's the wisdom? What do you think the wisdom is?
Listen and gain benefit from the khutbah.
To listen and to gain benefit, without a question. To show respect to the words that are being mentioned to them. So if the imam is saying something, and he gives them a time to respond, and it's something in which they can say Ameen and Sallallahu, then that wisdom is no longer there. It's not like you're talking during the khutbah. That's one way of looking at it. But another way of looking at it is the Prophet ﷺ told the people not even to say this or to say that, which is also from the benefit of the khutbah. Be quiet. Stop talking. Stop moving. Everyone understand this? The asl is that you're not supposed to talk. Just like the asl is that you're supposed to say Ameen. So this is an issue in which there are two generalities. The generality of this issue, the asl is there, and the generality of another issue, the asl is what? Everyone understand this? And this is extremely important of understanding why there's difference of opinion. Why Abu Hanifa say this and Malik say that. Oftentimes it's not because they just want to fight, but he's using a hadith and he's also using a hadith, and it's general. Like coming in the masjid after Salat al-Asr. Do you pray raka'at and sit down, or do you just sit down? One way of looking at it is that you're supposed to pray the 2 raka'at before sitting down no matter what time it is. And another way of looking at it is that any prayer after Asr is not supposed to be done. It's general, and that's also general. Everyone understand this? Everybody clear on this? The Shaykh Rahimahullah Ta'ala, he then says, فَأَحَدِيثُ الْأَمْرِ بِالصَّلَاةِ عَلَى النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم بِلَفْظٍ عند السماع اسمه الشريف تدل على الوجوب في أي وقت كان. Now the issue of saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Prophet telling the people to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam after his noble and honorable name has been mentioned, he says it proves that it's obligatory no matter what time it is. In the khutbah, outside of the khutbah, is to say what? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is the Mufti's view here. He says it shows that it's wajib. Is it obligatory to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? That's the issue of discussion. Is it wajib or is it recommended? Or is it recommended to say, is it obligatory to say once in your lifetime? Everyone understand this? That's the issue outside of this. Moving forward, he says, أدل على وجوب السكوت حال خطبتي صلاة الجمعة تدل على منع الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حال الخطبة. And also the hadiths about keeping silent during the khutbah are also without any time period. It doesn't say don't talk unless my name is mentioned. Do not speak unless my what? My name is mentioned. The hadith does not what? It does not say that, but it says what? Don't speak at all. Everyone understand this? He says, فَلَمَّا تَعَرَضَ الْعُمُومَانِ اخْتَلَفَ أَنظَارُ الْعُلَمَاءِ فِي الْمَسْأَلَةِ فمنهم من رجح الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عند ذكر اسمه الشريف ولو حال الخطبة لأن العلة في النهي هي التشويش ولا تشويش على الناس إنما يصلون على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في لحظة واحدة في الوقت الذي يصلي الخطيب على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. ومنهم من رجح عدم الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عند ذكر الشريف عملا بقواعد تغليب النهي عن الأمر. أما الذي أرجحه فهو الجواز لأنه لا تشويش على أحد إذا صلى المستمعون على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في لحظة واحدة. And he goes on to reiterate their points, why the ulama differ. They this generality, that generality, etc. And some of the ulama say rather there's no confusion, like you said. You say sallallahu alaihi wasallam briefly, it's no problem. And some of them say you keep silent no matter what, because it's pertaining to ruining your what? Your Jumu'ah, ruining your Jumu'ah. And some of the ulama, they say that the prohibition takes precedence over the command. That which is haram is more dangerous and important than doing that which is what? Everyone understand this? Al-hadir muqaddamun al-mubih. The text which makes something impermissible takes precedence over that which is what? Saying that it is permissible. And that's a qaida of usul al-fiqh right there in itself, which is extremely important. At the end of the fatwa, the mufti, he says that the view that I feel is the strongest is that it is permissible and there's no confusion, and the people can say Ameen, and the people can say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This fatwa was given by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Umrani, the Qadi of Yemen. May Allah have mercy upon his soul, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best.